Hi, first grade. It's time to do some reading, guys. We are going to try to finish this chapter book. I'm going to try this week, so I'm going to be doubling up, maybe tripling up on some of these chapters because I want you guys to hear the rest of my story about Spunky and his diary. So we left off on chapter 7, so that's where I'm going to start today. So listen carefully, guys. Get comfy, find a cozy spot. I'm going to get cozy in my chair this morning or this afternoon. All right, listen up. I hadn't gone far before I found someone I could play with. A big orange cat lay stretched out in the sun, not caring about anything around her. Her tail twitched and her ear flicked, but nothing else moved. I crept toward the cat slowly and silently. At first, I wanted to see if I could make friends with her, but as I got closer, I had a better idea. Trying hard not to laugh, I waited until the time was right. Then I jumped in the air and I barked with all of my might. The cat sprang to life. She landed on her feet with her back arched. Her fur stood on end and her green eyes flashed. In one giant leap, she was off the ground and halfway up a nearby tree. Here's a picture of Spunky sneaking up on her. Yikes, I bet he really scared her, huh? I trotted away happily and headed for the chickens. They were clucking and pecking their way across the yard. I went racing right through them, barking wildly. It worked! They fluttered and scattered in every direction, sending feathers and dirt flying. I traveled on down past the barn and found some calves feeding in a pen. I dashed in and barked, running back and forth. They turned and headed for the far end of the pasture, bawling as they ran. This was too much fun. I didn't know I had such power. All puffed up with my new importance, I went looking for more. See, that was a short chapter. Look, we're already on chapter 8, guys. At one end of the farm, I came to a fenced-in pen. Lying on her side in the warm sun was a huge pig. At her side were many little piglets. The big pig lay perfectly still, now and then flicking an ear at a fly that buzzed around her head. The piglets wiggled and squirmed and squealed and grunted as they ate their dinner. I sat and watched the strange-looking family. The piglets looked too busy to pay any attention to me, but the big one looked like fun. I wondered if she'd climbed a tree like the cat, or scatter like the chickens, or would she run with her tail held high like the calves. I pushed under the fence and walked slowly. And it shows a picture. I'll show you guys this picture of him. It looks like he's sneaking up on the pigs. When I got near her head, I stopped. My, she was big, much bigger than the cat and the chickens. I took a deep breath and barked, ready for all of the fun to begin. With one giant heave, the pig thrust herself into the air and onto her feet. Little pigs flew in every direction, squealing and running. With a grunt that shook the ground, the pig tossed her head and came straight for me. I wanted to run, but away from me. I wanted her to run, but away from me, not toward me. I barely had time to scramble out of the pen. I finally reached the fence, and with a quick duck, I was under and out. I was too frightened to bark. I didn't quit running until I reached the house, so it sounds like the big pig scared him. And it also sounds like the big pig, she was protecting her babies. And then I crawled under the porch and lay there panting. The giant pig kept grunting. I was afraid she might tear her way out of her pen and come looking for me. After a while, she settled down, and my heart returned to its normal pace. It was a long time until I felt brave enough to crawl out from under the porch again. And then it was only because Mark came looking for me to give me my lunch. For the rest of the day, I stayed close to Mark and the other children, sharing in their games and even playing in the creek. But the pig was on my mind. How could I get her back? Just as the Dobsons were saying their last goodbyes to the cousins, I got an idea. I snuck away and dashed down to the pig pen. I crept as close to the fence as I dared and let out one wild bark. I only stayed long enough to watch her angry head whirl around and look at me. Then I turned and ran for the safety of Mark in the car. I rode home with a smug look on my face. That big pig wasn't as great as she thought she was, after all. Grinning to myself, I had to agree with Mark that the farm was sure a fun place to be. It sounds like Spunky is a big old mess, first grade. All right, tomorrow we're going to start with chapter 9.